Are you considering moving abroad to Mexico? As a seasoned single black woman, I want you to know that I found it both rewarding and eye opening. And in this video, I just want to share 5 things I wish I had known before I took the leap. Welcome to Savvy Soldier Abroad. I'm Savvy D. Jones. And back in 2021, I moved to Chapala, Jalisco, Mexico, to begin my souljourn as a single black woman. And it was after attending the Exodus, no, not Exodus, Exodus Summit. Exodus Summit that's held annually by Rashida Dow and Stephanie Perry, that my networking for a soft landing lakeside began with my now business partner, Sonia Faloyan. So we attended the Exodus Summit together. We ended up being in a room where there were other women who were contemplating how they may decide to move abroad. You know, we were women who were tired of the rat race and being on the hamster wheel and working our fingers to the bones and working twice as hard to be considered half as good. We just got tired of that nightmare. It wasn't an American dream for us. It was a nightmare. And so we were there to gather information on how we could make an exodus. And we did. Now, Sonia came to Mexico prior to me, but when I met her in the Exodus Summit in a group of women who wanted to come to the Lakeside Chapala, Jalisco area, I reached out to her and I said, if you would take the lead in leading this group of women, keeping them responsible, keeping them accountable, I would be your co-pilot. And that was the beginning of our soft landing network, Lakeside Chapala. So we created the group, the Facebook group. It's a private Facebook group. We welcome you to join, called Mexodus Souljourners. And there we just share information about our life in Mexico. We encourage women who are considering moving abroad, whether it's Mexico, Panama, Brazil, wherever they want to go. We work with them. We encourage them to do that, and we provide valuable content so that we can keep them with it in the forefront of their mind and not keeping it on the back burner. The second thing we did as far as creating a network is that we began working towards our bed and breakfast that we now have in San Nicolas de Ibarra. Now, we are the first female black-owned hospitality establishment in the whole state of Jalisco. We did our grand opening back in 24 in San Nicolas de Ibarra. It's called Sojourners Vista del Lago. I will leave a link for information regarding that bed and breakfast in the description below. The other thing that we have done since coming together as business partners is we've gotten our residency. And we do offer services to help you get your residency, whether it's temporal or permanente, in the state of Jalisco, in Mexico. If that's something that you're interested in doing, because we've done it, we are confident in putting the right things in place to assist you in getting it done as well. We work with a facilitator. It's nothing that we recommend you do on your own. You want someone who knows the system, who knows the language, who knows the culture, who knows the laws, the regulations, that can help you get it done in an expedited way. When we did it, we went through the amnesty program, or what's called the RNE. That currently is still available at the time of this recording. I don't know how much longer it will be available. So that's one of the reasons I recommend that you work with a facilitator to help you get that done. Last but not least, the fourth thing that we have done as business partners is last year we had our first Jumpstart Your Souljourn women's retreat. We're having our second Jumpstart Your Souljourn 2 women's retreat next month in February, the 21st through the 27th. There are still some seats available, and there's still time to take advantage of a special where when you sign up before the 20th of January, you will get 2 complimentary nights stay at our bed and breakfast, depending on availability of the rooms. So we've created a soft landing here, Lakeside. We want to encourage you to join our Facebook group. We want to encourage you to come to the women's retreat. We're going to be talking about embodiology this year and the importance of us getting rest and ease and moving and just getting connected with our heart's desires. If this sounds like something that is interesting to you, please subscribe. Leave a comment. That helps the algorithm to send this video out and bring more videos to you when you're considering things like moving abroad. So, 5 things I wish I had known. Some of the misconceptions that are out there is, that it's a dangerous place. Where isn't there some danger in wherever you go? Mexico is no different than any other place. What you have to do is be wise as far as doing the research. And there are some apps that I want to recommend that you use. Nomio is a good one, and Earth Awaits are good apps or websites to go to where you can research the areas that you're thinking about going all over the world, anywhere in the world. I want to encourage you to go there. Put in some of the locations that you're considering. This is one of the things I wish I had known before moving to Mexico. I'm kind of a sporadic individual. My mother always told me that I was like my dad, that if I think about it, then I'm already doing it. So when I came to Mexico, I didn't know about these apps. I didn't know about these websites. I was using mostly YouTube to research what it is that I wanted to do. And so when I came to Mexico, it was initially just to get my certification as a TEFL teacher so that I could teach English as a second language. But once I got here, I fell in love and I decided to stay. Thank God for the Exodus Summit that I watched just prior to coming to Mexico in November of 2021, because that gave me some footing as far as what to do once I put boots on the ground. So one of the things that I wish I had known is more about the apps that are available to help me research where it is that I want to go. The other thing that is going to help you with is understanding the rent, the cost of living, health care, and transportation. Now, I knew about Didi and that you could download that app to summons, a cab. Now, that'll work in Puerto Vallarta or in Mexico City, but not in Chapala. In Chapala, the transportation that I am dependent upon is the bus system and cabs, and that's fine with me. I don't want to own a vehicle. I don't want to have to deal with all the paperwork and the legalities of all of that. The taxi services work very well for me. I keep 5 drivers in my phone, and I go through and schedule places that I need to go in advance. So usually if I know I'm going to need to go somewhere 2-3 days down the road, I call them, set up the time, confirm it the day before, and I'm good to go. Other times, I walk down to Central Mexico, Chapala Central at the plaza and hail a cab. Or if I want to go the long road or the long route, I get on the bus system. They're very convenient and it's very economical, and that is something that I wish I had known more about before moving to Mexico, so that I could have prepared and had that money set aside for transportation. Now, I knew about rent, and rent for me is very economical. Now, it was much cheaper when I was in Guadalajara attending school. When I came to Chapala, it went up a little bit, but I got so much more. I got more culture. I got my co-living community. I got to be right down in central Chapala. I have a beautiful casa that I'm currently living in with now currently we have 2. When I came, there was 4 of us. Now there are 2, so we now are managing this casa where we now have availability for other sisters who want to come to Mexico to have a sabbatical, to just kind of get to know the culture, to get their bearings, to see if this is where they want to go, or maybe this is a great central located place where they can travel to other places in Mexico. It's prime. It's wonderful. So those are some things that I wish I had known before moving. But when I came, I told God, look, I'm buying a one-way ticket, business first class, and I'm going to walk through any door that you open. And He has opened doors for me. The communal living space is something that I didn't know about prior to coming, but now that I'm here, now that I'm in it, I'm enjoying it. It has been very beneficial for me, both mentally, emotionally, spiritually, financially, and even physically. I mean, they have been there to support me, and I've got this community of lovely women who are creators like myself, and it is a wonderful thing. That is something that I wish I had known prior to moving. The other thing that you want to make sure is that you have some money set aside for medical. The cost here is a lot less expensive than in the U.S. And depending on your health, depending on what it is that you need, is going to determine how much you need to have saved aside. So I can't give you like a one fit all or number that's going to be good for everybody. That's just not going to be the case. But generally saying, and it depends on your lifestyle, but generally I would say that, for your immediate needs. Now, I wasn't able to do this. I knew that I needed to have a certain amount of medication when I was coming to Mexico for, and it's only 2 pills that I take. But I was not able to get my prescriptions to be for 3 months. And that is something that I would recommend if you can. If you can get a supply for 3 to 6 months, do that. Usually when we come in on a visiting visa, the FMM, you get 180 days. So why not have 180 days worth of medication with you? If you can get that, great. If not, budget for, maybe 100 to 300 USD dollars to cover prescriptions that you're going to need to renew or to replenish once you get here. The other thing is maybe you need to see a dentist or, a doctor for just general things. Having that amount in your account, either with a debit card or cash that you bring with you and then convert over to pesos, should be sufficient for that period of time. The next thing you want to make sure is that you have some type of an emergency fund. Now, when I came, I brought $5,000 USD with me. That's a lot. I don't necessarily recommend that all people do that, but I knew that I was going to be staying for a minute, and I didn't know how much it was going to cost me to be there that long. So I just did a rough draft. Again, do your research. But yeah, if you have $1,000 to $2,000 to cover some medical expenses because you're uninsured, you should be good. But again, it's going to depend on your lifestyle and how healthy you are and what conditions you currently have in place. Prescriptions for chronic conditions, when it comes to the long-term goals of staying here longer, you may want to have more like $500 to $1,000 to replenish things that may come up. $800 to $2,000. It depends on you. I really am enjoying my life in Chapala. I'm back and forth to the U.S., and I look forward to the time that I am going to be there permanently. And the way things are kind of looking right now in the U.S., I'm thinking that that may be sooner than I think. The other thing that I wish I had known is more about the immigration. Here on this channel, we do share information about immigration. There currently is the what I mentioned earlier, the RNE that's available. Again, I don't know how much longer that's going to be available, so you need to do your research concerning how to get that done. And that process of immigrations, or that process of getting residency, is the way that I did mine back in 23. November of 23, I've got 4 years temporal residency going through that program. And it was because I had been in Mexico during previous times between 2015 and 2022. So those dates have now changed, and I'm not sure what they are. So again, you're going to need to connect with a facilitator or with a good attorney if you want someone. I have a wonderful guy that I can recommend for you to get in touch with to see if that is still available. When I first started thinking about residency, I was going to go the regular path. Coming from Michigan, going to Detroit to go to the consulate, have an appointment, and do all of that stuff. And at that time, it was less than $3,000 for me to do it. And matter of fact, I qualified to do it for permanente, but I drug my feet. And so the following year, it had gone up like 25%. This past year, I think it's going up like another 12%. So now what used to be less than $3,000 for temporal is now over $4,400 to solvency that you have to prove to grow the traditional route of getting residency. I encourage you to get a facilitator. If you want to go the traditional route, fine. If you want to see if the R&E program is still available, get in touch. It's better to do it sooner than later. By the way, do you have your passport? Do you have 6 months left on it? Check, make sure that those things are in position. Don't be getting ready, be ready. Get your passport. All right. The other thing I wish I knew more about was banking. Now, I have not yet put any money in a Mexican bank. I am going to do that because we run a business in Mexico. Right now, the exchange is great, but that fluctuates on a regular basis. So another one of the apps that you want to have on your phone is the currency app. And you can just download that on your phone. It is very useful, along with Google Translate and Translate. Those are 3 apps that you want to make sure that you have on your phone. A third thing that I wish I knew more about was the cultural aspects of Mexico. I knew what I had seen on TV, and we can't always trust that. I'm just going to put that out there. But these people are loving, kind, generous people. That I love about Mexico. Every time I'm walking down the streets, I'm greeting. They're greeting me back. And that is a joyful feeling. I wish that when I was in high school, I had taken Spanish, but being immersed in the culture, I believe, is even a better experience. Now, I use Duolingo, and since moving to Mexico, I have hired Kim Ann Zora to teach me Spanish. She is a 20-year veteran teacher for Spanish, and she has a program called Bloom in Spanish. And it is a wonderful interactive group of people. She keeps it in a small, intimate group so that you're learning. So the cultural aspect is something that you want to research. You want a good understanding of it. Don't bring European attitudes into Mexico. They don't belong here. This is a kind place. This is a loving place. This is a family-oriented place. And for that's one of the reasons I love Mexico. It's important to have social connections. Now, my introduction was when I attended the Exodus Summit. There, I was able to meet some women and have stayed connected with those women. Now that I'm in Chapala, I have even a bigger connection of women. And so that is another thing that's really important when you're considering moving abroad. Get into the Facebook groups. Connect with individuals that are already doing what it is that you want to do, so that it is an easy transition for you to come and check it out, for you to move abroad, and for you to grow as an individual that is on this souljourn. Fourth thing that I wish I had known more about is embracing this slow pace of life. I'm a recovering workaholic. I was always on the go. Matter of fact, I got teased by my American friends about having 7 jobs. They used to call me a Jamaican. They said I had 7 jobs. I may have had that. I never really counted all of that. But I know I was a workaholic. And now I am in recovery in Mexico. I am living a life of intentional ease. Yes, I have a bed and breakfast, and there's some work that goes with that. But it's doing what I want to do, not what just pays the bill to allow me to keep up with the Joneses in the US. No, I'm doing something of enjoyment. It's fulfilling. I believe it is my purpose. And so it doesn't seem like work. That is something that I encourage you as a baby boomer, late bloomer, woman over 55. If you're approaching retirement, you really need to consider having a slide hustle. That's something that you can slide into once you have retired from your government job that's literally not keeping you well physically, emotionally, and in some cases, not even financially. Social Security is not going to be enough, even if it's around. If it is around, it's probably going to look a lot different than what it is. I know individuals right now who are getting less than $2,000 a month with their Social Security. I was blessed and fortunate to work for the government, and I have a pension in addition to having Social Security. That is not the case with everybody. And so it can be financially daunting to think about continuing living in the U.S. I'm not bashing the U.S. I'm just saying that it's difficult, and this is because of people that I've spoken to. I'm not just pulling numbers out of the sky. I've talked to individuals who are living in the U.S. who are saying that they can't make ends meet. They're robbing Peter to pay Paul. So get a slide hustle. Do something that you love, that brings you enjoyment. Do something that you're passionate about that can also pay you so that you can live that luxury life that you want to live, whether it's in the U.S. or abroad. Health and wellness for me has improved while in Mexico. I have access to underground streams that flourish and provide places for us to go to the sauna and have these mineral baths and different things. I love it. I love getting up, walking every morning with my neighbor. Mexico in Chapala is kind of hilly, and so I'm working the glutes, expanding the air in my lungs, and then on top of that have a beautiful scenery. And as a result, have lost weight, have increased my stamina. I get fresh fruits and vegetables every day of the week that's not laden with chemicals to preserve them so that they can stay pretty on the shelf as we have in the U.S. So that's more. That is something that I wish I knew more about. The importance of community for mental and emotional health, going to the market, speaking with the vendors in Spanish, just warms my heart. And I'm still learning. Oh, they still laugh at me because I say some things backwards or I have the accent in the wrong spot. But they're loving and kind to correct me so that we can continue to communicate in their language. I'm in their land. I enjoy that. The work and purpose is the fifth thing I think you need to know. I think you need to know your why. Why do you want to move abroad? Why do you want to move to Mexico? Why do you want to leave the U.S.? And once you get to the core reason of that why, I think that it will be an easier thing for you. There needs to be a balance between your professional and your personal life. That is important for me. So I'm an ambivert. I need just as much solitude as I do social. And that's something that I continually work on. But I have learned to say no to some things. If I need my quiet time, I'm not going to that social event. If I need to spend some time meditating or in the Word, I'm not going to that social event. Other times, that social event may be exactly what I need to get me inspired for the next video. If you haven't already done so, make sure you subscribe. Here on this channel, I bring up to you information about co-living abroad. I talk about the importance of community, and I talk about how you can make your money stretch further abroad with the right tools, with the right support, and with the right plan. If that sounds interesting to you, if that sounds like you can benefit from that type of information, make sure you hit the notification bell so that you can get the next upcoming video. Building economic empowerment and residual income is something that I am passionate about. I have been able to do that here in Mexico, and I would love the opportunity to help you do the same. You don't have to keep working yourself to death. You don't have to try to keep staying caught up with the Joneses. What is it that you want? What is it that you really, really want to do in your latter years? And you don't have to wait till you're 50 to make this decision. If you're 40 or 30 and you're already thinking ahead, you're a strategic thinker, you're futuristic, let's have a conversation. Let's talk about it. I'm Savvy D. Jones, the co-living diva. And I want to just say, be well, live free, and prosper.